What's good everyone, it's Zigzag here, welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Good to have you along on the channel today, and a particular welcome to anyone who's come over from my video with Geoguessr, which I posted yesterday. Now, it's long been a dream of every Geoguessr player that we would have every single country in the world covered by Google. However, we can see if we click the bottom right hand of the screen here on the little orange man, that only about half the countries in the world actually have Street View, and while it's true many of the bigger and more significant countries do, we're missing China, most of Africa, and many of the tiny countries in the world in the Pacific and in the Caribbean. Well, what if I were to tell you that there is a map on Geoguessr that actually includes every single country in the world in a way that feels like normal Geoguessr? Well, that map is called Geoguessr in 2069, and it includes every single country in the world, but in an authentically Geoguessr feeling way. So let me show you what it's like. This will also be a play along, so feel free to go into the comments and see if you can beat me on today's games. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check out what this map is all about and see if we can get any good guesses, especially because this is a map without any meta, so it is very difficult to get good scores a lot of the time. And first round of the day here is definitely feeling like somewhere tropical. We also have like a very dark road here with a lot of like it's kind of poor quality, that's for sure. I was thinking Africa here just because I don't really recognize the vegetation too well. It kind of does feel like some of the stuff I've seen in southern Africa as well. And it definitely feels maybe though a bit too tropical to be all the way south. So maybe somewhere in the middle of Africa here. Yeah, I don't really have a good idea for this round, but I think I'll just go for like, I'm not too sure. The longer I look at it, the more I think like Central America could be possible too. But I think I'm going to stick to my guns here and go in Gabon. I'm not really sure if this is a bad or good guess, but let's find out here. And okay, it was in India. Very difficult round there. I mean, if you got that, well done, because I'd really be curious to see how you got it. But that is going to be 16 points. So obviously, when there's no meta involved, and when every single country is on the table, Geoguessr becomes a whole lot harder. We're going to see that again and again on today's video. But this round is looking a lot more forgiving. This gentleman over here, he definitely looks like he might be African, and I think the whole rest of the round, the architecture and everything, would support that theory. We do have a big coconut palm here, which I was kind of thinking of clicking more inland here, but that actually could go against what I was thinking there. It's definitely red soil, and I mean red soil is definitely common in this part of Africa from what I've seen on Google, but of course it also extends out here as well. So, and actually Uganda and Kenya have it plenty as well. So I mean this could be really just about anywhere. It does look like a lot of Kenya rounds, Uganda rounds I've had. So maybe like Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, those kind of countries could certainly work quite nicely here. Architecture maybe made me want to go maybe like more so inland here, so maybe even Democratic Republic of Congo, Central African Republic, something like that. I don't know, it's not an easy one, but I think I'll be happy to send it like this. Okay, it was Tanzania, not a terrible guess there. Interesting that they also have that red soil, wasn't really familiar with that, but that's a good score nonetheless, for this map at least. Okay, next one here immediately reminded me of Greece or Turkey or something like that, right? We have lots of these pines, the kind of more southern looking pines, Mediterranean kind of looking climate here, I'd imagine, so yeah. And for some reason, definitely just feels more like the east rather than the west to me. So yeah, I was thinking Turkey here is probably, or just Greece are probably the best options. Maybe Greece is more likely, but yeah, I think both are pretty good. Anything else to say here? I mean, it doesn't feel, I feel like you get slightly greener as you head up the coast here. Maybe it's just the way that Google covered it, but I feel like Albania is normally greener than this. And then Croatia definitely can look like this, but probably the landscape's a bit too vast. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Italy, Spain being possible, but I'm going to send it in Greece here. Okay, and it was actually France there in Corsica. Definitely a difficult round. Obviously, our score's not too bad there because Europe's pretty small. But yeah, definitely a difficult one. I'm not really sure if I could have gotten France there, to be honest with you. Okay, next one here, though. And what are we going to have? As we load in, we've got a red number plate. Very interesting stuff. This once again feels like Africa, particularly these buildings in the background look like Nigerian architecture to me. And as the whole round loads in here, definitely kind of feels like that, but a bit further north, right? And I don't think you ever see red number plates in Nigeria either, so we have to click a different country here. I feel like it would probably be too dry up here in Niger, so maybe like Burkina Faso could work quite nicely here. Maybe Mali as well. Definitely kind of looks like Mali rounds I've had, but with the crucial difference that the architecture is quite Nigerian. So I'm actually going to go back here towards Niger, I think, or Benin or something like that, or maybe even Chad is possible here. I'm just thinking, I don't think I've ever seen the red number plates before, but I do think that it should be somewhere Nigeria or Nigeria adjacent here. So yeah, shall I go Niger? Shall I go Benin? Maybe even north. Benin here could work quite nicely. I'm going to do that instead, actually. Okay, it was Guinea. Interesting, because to me, the buildings did not look like Ghana. They look much more like Nigeria. So interesting, maybe there is a similarity there, or maybe it was just too small a sample size. But yeah, not a bad score, but could have been much closer. And the last one here, very flat landscape, should be somewhere in Europe. Immediate thought was like Po Valley, Italy here. It just kind of looks like that. Though the wooden fence, I'm not really sure if that fits too nicely. Could also just be Switzerland or something like that here. One side of the Alps, I'm not really sure which. But the mountains appear to be to the south there, so I guess we would maybe try Switzerland here. Sign is definitely European style, but not that helpful, I think. Yeah, I'm going to try Switzerland instead of Italy, even though that was my first thought. We'll see if the if the compass is correct here, but let's go for that. And okay, was actually in Liechtenstein there, kind of makes sense, I guess. But 4.6k is a good way to end that seed. So I got 9,954, but I think it was a pretty difficult seed. So let me know if you beat me on that first one, and let's head into another. Okay, jumping back in here, the link for the second game is in the description. Let's see if we can get a country right, because I don't think we did yet in the video. This one looks very much like the last India we had, except it's definitely very, very different soil color, that's for sure. Immediately thought it was like Mexico or something. I've definitely seen Mexican roads looking like this, and the fact that it's so wide feels more like the Americas than elsewhere, maybe. Of course, Africa is still possible here, and I'm not really sure if Mexico itself is the best call, but maybe something like Nicaragua or something around that central American side is working slightly better. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Definitely like a very pale soil. That's what kind of reminded me of the Yucatan Peninsula, where there's really not too much red soil. It's very pale indeed. But then again, as I said, like I'm not really sure if I'm confident to go there when some of these smaller countries are adjacent, but also kind of they're more likely to show up just because we have every single country, right? So yeah, I think I'll go Nicaragua here. I'm not really too sure. But let's find out if we're correct about that. Well, South Africa. Very difficult South Africa there. To be fair, I can definitely see that is there. Like this, there is like Google coverage that looks like that around Naberha and George and stuff like that. But yeah, difficult around there. Okay, next one here. See if we can improve on that. This one, okay, this is a repeat. Obviously, when you play a map with only 1,000 locations, you do sometimes get repeats. And I remember this was Germany. Now, I feel like it was more south, but let's just send it in like this. And yeah, okay, it was effort. Nice. That was in the first video I made on this map about 3 or 4 months ago, I reckon. Okay, next one here, we have A-frame style poles. Now, these ones should be in, I believe, Soviet countries, generally speaking. And it's very snowy here, so that definitely checks out. Big mountains, though, so that can only be in certain places. I would be thinking of Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan here. Those two probably most likely just being so mountainous and also being, post-Soviet countries, so using those poles. Yeah, I feel like there's no good reason not to go Kyrgyzstan here. It's obviously a country we're fairly familiar with in Geoguessr, but yeah, I feel like this is also like very similar. So we could go along a road with a river here. This one I found doesn't have a river, but there are plenty of them that do have rivers following along. Something like this could certainly work nicely, so let's try that out. And okay, it was in the Caucasus there in Georgia. Wow. I was pretty confident, to be honest, but I don't really know what Georgian poles look like, so there you go. We are right up in the mountains there. Maybe they were a bit too big for where I clicked, but no, I feel like yes, the Caucasus are taller mountains, but yeah, I mean, just a difficult round, I think. Okay, next round here. Immediately interesting that we have a yellow house. Super European, obviously. We have to be in Europe here. But there are multiple thoughts. My first thought was Germany again. Just because it does kind of feel quite wealthy, the road is good quality, and the house looks well maintained and everything. Even though it does kind of give me also a bit of a Eastern Europe vibe. So, I mean, I don't really know if it looks that Czech. I would even be thinking of maybe something further south, like Balkan or something like that here, as my second option. Maybe like Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, something like that. But I see a wind turbine in the background, so that's leaning me much more back towards Germany, right? Because like wind turbines are not too common in Eastern Europe, though you do see them sometimes. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go for Germany here. Maybe Austria would be the second option, but I would say, and then I've also heard many people saying that Bavaria, apart from maybe around Franconia, does not have many wind turbines. So maybe we should go more so like Stuttgart area here in Baden-Württemberg, or maybe just something more central. It did kind of feel warm to me though, so I will go in Baden-Württemberg here and let's see. Okay, it was just Austria there, right on the border with. Oh, I remember that. I actually, did this drive in the bus when I went from Vienna to Bratislava, and there were tons of wind turbines around there. Though, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I had the Eastern Europe vibe mixed with the German vibe. Does make sense that it was around there. I think that was actually gettable around, but very difficult nonetheless. Okay, here we are. We got like a ton of poplars. I'm wondering if I had this round before as well. Not quite sure. I thought it might just be like southern Russia or something like that here. It does kind of remind me of that kind of architecture that you get like around Mahashkala. So I guess by that logic, if we're using that same logic that, smaller countries are more likely to show up, maybe Azerbaijan, Armenia could work quite nicely here. Maybe even, I could see this being Iran actually, because you have to consider all these different countries, and this does kind of feel that way. Now, if it was a repeat, I'm just trying to think, could this be over here? I feel like we had a similar round over there, maybe in like Uzbekistan or something like that. There's no reason it couldn't be, to be honest. These pipes feel very Soviet, so maybe that is a good option. I don't know, these poplars though, where would you be more likely to see those? I don't feel like I recognize those as being particularly Kyrgyzstan. So then again, I'm not really sure if they're actually that southern Russian, but I want to try Azerbaijan here. Bit risky, let's give it a go though. And okay, whoa, nice guess. Okay, that's really good. Azerbaijan there, picking that up. I'm really happy with that, because yeah, it looked like Durban architecture. So that's officially the first nice guess of the video, and we got a 13.3 there. Let me know how you did. Okay, jumping into the third game. I really love this map, guys. I don't know about you guys, but this really is just, I just love imagining Geoguessr being like this one day when Google covers even more countries. But here we have something. This looks like it's an American truck of some kind. We have a short number plate, so definitely somewhere in Central America for my money. Ooh, yeah, that pole top is findable in Mexico, though I don't think this is a Mexican number plate, so it's just somewhere in that part of the world, right? I think also with the big gates around all the houses could kind of feel Caribbean as well. The truck is parked on the right-hand side of the road, and I doubt they make many American trucks with the steering wheel on the right, so it's probably more likely to be a right-hand drive country is what I'm trying to say, and that would maybe lean me more towards Central America again, because most of these islands do drive left. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Belize could work quite nicely here, Honduras, something like that, just with like the more American influence, but also like probably driving right hand side of the road, right? So yeah, I feel like that's what I'll go for here, Belize. It's quite a small country, to be fair. There's not many people living there, so but yeah, you could certainly see like a community like this, I reckon, like a fairly sizable town. So I'm gonna give that a go. Again, it kind of looks like Yucatan, so that's kind of my logic here. Let's give it a crack, and it was in northern Venezuela there. I feel like I've seen, yeah, that kind of like fairly thick lettering on Venezuelan plates before, so not the best guess, got the general region, but yeah, missing out there, unfortunately. Okay, I was right that it was a right-hand drive country, though. And I think Venezuela does have a lot of American trucks. But okay, next one here. This is interesting. So we got two strips of blue on the plates here. And they are pretty long. So this should be France or Italy. Now the pole here looks round, and so does this one. So I would think Italy here. Especially with this yellow house. This one feels particularly Italian, for sure. Okay, so in that case, I feel like this is more northern. Because the architecture just doesn't really remind me of that deep south stuff, that's for sure. But I think anywhere along the leg or along the boot. I just don't think it's like Sardinia. I don't really think it's Sicily. So as I said, more of a north vibe here. I could definitely just see like a Rome working quite nicely here, but I might even go in the like kind of south of the Po Valley here, just because yes, it's hilly, but it also kind of feels, I don't know, just as I said, it kind of feels more European, more northern. So I'm gonna go for this, and it was just a bit south there instead. Always a possibility. We don't really get too much information there, so unfortunately dropping some points that we could have otherwise gotten, but that's okay. Next one here, a bit of snow, and we have a Soviet-style pole here. Yeah, so where do we want to go here? The architecture is definitely quite run down, feels quite poor. To me, this is literally the type of round that can be anywhere from like Novosibirsk all the way to like Lithuania type of thing. So yeah, not an easy one. The pole top, could it be, not really sure how that's feeling, to be honest. It just feels pretty generic. But yeah, as I said, I could literally see anything like Kyrgyzstan is way possible here, just as much as Lithuania or Belarus are. The trees appear to be birches. No, this is not a birch, but definitely pale trunks. I don't know, when it's winter, it's really hard to gather information about what the climate's actually like, because obviously, like, pretty much the whole of Russia snows like this. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a good reason not to go Russia, apart from the fact that, it should only have a few locations on the map, and the smaller countries probably have as many. So, yeah, maybe just go Kazakhstan here. Why not? Let's give it a go. Okay, wow, Kazakhstan. It was. Nice. I'm really happy with that. Maybe even should have gone further north, just because more trees are further north, I would imagine. Like, not too many trees going down in the south of the country. But that's a really nice one. 2-country streak, by the way, so let's see if we can get a third in a row. That would be pretty sick. Okay, what are we going to have here? Pray for an easy one. I want the country streak. Okay, this is gettable, I feel. And it definitely feels like Europe again, kind of thin road, avenues of trees on both sides of the road. To me, it feels like Romanian rounds I've had. But maybe these kind of brambles feel a bit more Western European. It is interesting because it's quite hilly. I'm just struggling to think where I'd put this there. We have red roofs, I think. I mean, we can only just make it out, but it looks like a bunch of red roofs there. So maybe this is France or something. That could be like the kind of hedgerows that you get a lot in France. And then I could honestly see like these fields. They're a bit wild, sure. But the red roofs could be like kind of like a Dijon, kind of Lyon area, that kind of thing. That definitely works. What else is possible here? I feel like it could still be like Balkan, maybe Croatia, or as I said, maybe Romanian or something like that. Kind of reminds me of both of those countries a little bit. But no, I think the brambles and everything feel a bit more Western European. The red roofs, I mean, it could just be Germany again. I guess because we already had it, I'm kind of biased against it, but Luxembourg, Germany, France, I feel like they're kind of quite good options here. Maybe not Luxembourg, they don't have more black roofs, but yeah, maybe even Slovenia, not out of the question. I'm going to go for France here. Let's pick inside the hills more here. And okay, was actually Italy again. Not a bad guess there. Got more of a Western European vibe. Oh, San Marino. That makes sense, actually. Okay, so that makes sense, yeah. And we miss our country, unfortunately. Last one of the seed here. Let's see if we can get the best score we've gotten so far. This is very snowy. And we have very interesting poles here, made of metal. That is interesting. So maybe Central Asia kind of vibe here. The houses definitely feel like Asia, or not particularly like Europe or anything like that. Now I'm thinking maybe this is more Middle Eastern than I thought, because, you do get snow in particular areas. I would imagine like Afghanistan, Iran, something like that. I could see Iran working quite nicely here. Because I feel like I've seen, I mean, these poles are similar to the ones you might get in like Jordan, but I don't think Jordan would snow this much. So yeah, I think I would go Iran. Actually, Iran would be near the top of my list of countries to get Street View, because I feel like it just has spectacular variety in that country. Okay, I'm gonna hedge it maybe further towards this side, so that if it's Afghanistan or something like that, it also kind of works. Turkmenistan, also getting inside there. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this guess. What's it gonna be? Okay, not too bad. Over in Iraq, one country over. Of course, it's over 1,000 kilometers away, but still a pretty good guess. And I guess that makes sense why we had similar poles to like Jordan, because we are in that kind of area of the world instead. So 13,000 again there, pretty good. Let's go for one more, I think. Okay, into the final seed of the game here, and we immediately have an interesting round here, right? So lots of golden grass. Trees almost feel like a bit African, I would say, maybe like kind of savanna kind of climate. So, or like Serengeti, I forget what the difference between those two is, but like that kind of thing, right? But just as well, it could be somewhere completely different. I could definitely see that. Maybe even India is not out of the question here, I feel. Looks like we have like lots of four-wheel drive tracks. I feel like, Africa is just full of four-wheel drives. It is a lot of wilderness, that does make sense. I don't think it quite feels like South Africa, so I could definitely choose something else. Even Madagascar or Namibia, Zimbabwe, something like that could all work quite nicely here. Maybe Zimbabwe is what I associate this with most. Just as easily, something up here is well possible. But I think it gave me slightly more of a Southern African vibe. Sun is unfortunately dead west, so not really useful at all. Should be somewhere in the evening, I guess, though. Yeah, I don't think it's South America. I think that I'm pretty good about that. I could see US or Mexico working here. And I could see something in Asia. But yeah, I think overall I do prefer Southern Africa here, so let's send it in. And what's Botswana? I guess so. I guess that makes sense. But in Geoguessr, when you have the Google coverage here, it normally looks a bit different because they did it in the winter. So yeah, but we got the next country over. That's a pretty good start to the seed. Let's see what we got next one here. And so we got some almost South American looking buildings here. I also like the fact that we have a basketball hoop here for South America, but maybe this is actually Africa. I mean, both of the gentlemen here are darker skinned, so that would definitely make sense. Then I think also, yeah, beyond this building, not too much reminds me of South America, to be honest. So, in Africa, where would we go here? This is interesting. I could see like a whole bunch of different countries working quite nicely here, of course. It's really not too much to go off of. We have like almost like, it's not a eucalyptus tree, but it has a very similar bark. I don't think it really helps us, but interesting observation. Yeah. No, I'm very sold on Africa. I just don't really know if it feels more like West Africa or Central. Maybe Central. I could see even Central African Republic working now that I say it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to go for it here. I do think it's somewhere in that kind of central region, but could be anywhere. Okay, and it was actually one country over again in DRC, but yeah, quite a bit further south than I thought. Honestly, probably right at the south end of what I thought was possible, but still, we get some points. It's okay. Next one here, India, I want to say before it loads in. And yeah, we have Indian-looking signage there. Now, I think this might be a Karnataka pole, right? Reason being, we have like this kind of lower crossbar. Language, does it fit for Karnataka? I think it does. It is like a bit kind of, it doesn't look a little different though, actually. Karnataka language is very round, whereas this kind of maybe looks more like Tamil Nadu. Kind of Tamil language, I guess. So that's my idea here. Now, we could probably find this place, and I have no doubt that many of you guys will. But I would imagine it's quite a small town. It doesn't really look like the type of sign you'd have. We're not on a big highway or anything, right? So, but yeah, I think I have to go Tamil Nadu based on the language here. I didn't see anything in Karnataka that had like there's that similar shape. So yeah, I'll go Tamil Nadu here. Karnataka pole. Maybe we should go on the border between the two, really, shouldn't we? So where do they actually border most? So maybe like around here, but it's not very hilly. That's the problem. It's like there's quite a natural border there. But screw it. I'm going to go here. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of similar place names, by the way, so I'm feeling good about this guess. Let's see. And okay, it was all the way south there, so Paul was lying, but we got the right state, which is pretty nice. And no doubt many of you guys did as well. But let me know if you got the 5K, that would be pretty cool. Okay, let us see how we're going on this second last round here. This immediately felt like San Carlos, what's that actually called? Bariloche, which actually is a place my uncle has been to. He showed me photos today. That's immediately what it looked like to me. This kind of, glacial landscape. Almost, are they monkey puzzle trees? Could be. And then kind of very cold, but I mean, it's such a cool place. I think we're just going to send it here. It looks like that area to me. I think it was a bit further north there. We were indeed in Argentina, I think. Yeah, right on the border. So that's a nice little round there. Easy one. Okay, and the last one here of the video. Let's see if we can beat that score, surely. We just need to be a country that's gettable. And it's going to be Australia? That looks like Australia to me initially. Though, maybe not. Maybe this is South Africa. Okay, so just trying to think where I'd put this in Australia. The thing that's concerning... Uruguay, maybe. Okay, the thing that's concerning is these bollards here. I mean, they're not proper bollards in the Geoguessr sense, but they are not very Australian looking. Then, I'm also noticing that this pole here is painted white at the bottom, which is concerning for most of my thoughts, honestly, because Southern Africa, I don't really think they're painting their poles white at the bottom at all. And then, it does kind of look like the Lesotho Mountains, but yeah, I'm just going to have to say it's not. And for that reason, I think this is probably Rio Grande do Sul, Uruguay, or Argentina again. And out of those ones with the white painted bottom of the pole, I would say, I guess, Rio Grande do Sul. The problem is, am I thinking of, am I disregarding something that's quite possible here, just because it's not on Geoguessr? That's the question. Maybe. Yeah, I feel like it does kind of look like Brazil, though. This house could certainly be Brazilian, and I think particularly with the white painted bottom pole, I will go for Rio Grande do Sul, but I'm very curious to see what this could be if it's not there. So yeah, this is where I'm going to go. Let's see it. Oh, and just over in Uruguay, not a bad result there at all though. We got 16,000 points to end it off. Let me know what you guys thought of this video, how you did, and yeah, this is definitely one I would love to play against Geoguessr with, because obviously we'd be on a pretty level playing field, and it is just such a fun map. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.